Hello and welcome to the Drummergy Podcast, episode 137. Why, yip, yeah!
Wow, 137.
Yeah.
That's my lucky number.
Is it really?
No.
Usually it's like 1 through 10. You're the kid that was like, give me 137.
I'm on 137. I want it now.
It's like, the TV show, now it's called Kelly, Ripa, and Mark. It used to be Regis and Kathy Lee all those years ago. Well, they do this thing.
That's still on?
It is.
Oh
so every once in a great while, I will catch a little glimpse of this, but they'll ask a caller, what did so-and-so talk about last week on the show? And they're like, oh, they went to Aruba or wherever. And then if they win, they're like, you won this care package. Now pick a number for the audience member to win. And it's like never 1 through 10, right? It's always like a random, like 137. And then they show some dude in shorts and Crocs way up in the balcony. That.
So are you telling me that I just wanted a trip from Aruba from the Drummergy podcast?
Not from the Drummergy, from Kelly and Mark.
Awesome. I'm going to call them right after we're done here.
You got to get on the horn with NBC and make that happen.
Where's my ticket, man?
Speaking of TV shows.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, ladies and gentlemen, Bart Robley is a drummer. Duh.
I am.
Session guy, a for hire guy. He tours with the Sam Morrison Band, and he's an author. We're going to talk about his books and all those kind of things. But one thing that I do know about Bart, and I want everybody to know this, Bart, you have done TV yourself, playing. Was that live television?
Yeah, on World's Greatest Tribute Bands.
Was that what it was?
Mm-hmm. I did that.
I was thinking of the Star Trek one you told me about.
Oh no, the Star Trek that wasn't TV. It was for all the actors. All the actors. But that was a live thing.
Oh, okay. Well, so can you expand on that a little bit? Like you're playing for all this Star Trek stuff, because this sparked an idea of the what do they call it when they get the transporter room?
Oh yeah, when they transport somebody, when they beam you down. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking this part because
okay.
This is part of this coffee thing. So I got you a Starbucks.
Oh, thank God, dude. I am. It's early here in California. It's just now 6 o'clock. I'm usually up and in the gym, but yeah, I could go for a coffee.
Okay. So I thought of this because you're the Star Trek thing. Yeah. And I was thinking, maybe I could hand you this over the internet.
Dude, that's easy. That's totally,
okay.
Go for it.
Okay, here we go. You look like you could use some coffee. So
yeah.
Here we go.
Awesome.
That's for you, buddy.
Thank you.
Success.
Listen, dang. That's the only reason we did this show.
Cheers, brother.
Only reason. Ka-ching. It's the only reason. It's been weeks in the planning. Okay, here's what we're gonna do.
Well, not only that, but all the failures the times before where you just
dude. I just got a text from Steven Spielberg. He said, "Whoa, how'd you do that?"
See, I knew you were a guy with television and film.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. I wanted to. I don't know if you saw this, Bart, but last night I was getting the room ready to do this show, and I'm moving some drums out of here. And as I walked out of the door, I slipped and my feet went out from underneath me, and my right leg, the leg that broke almost a year ago, bent underneath me and kind of twisted. And I twisted. Oh yeah, dude, my knee and my leg is so swollen right now. And I tried to put my left hand out to kind of brace the fall, and my left wrist is so sore. This is actually that hurts the most. My left wrist. I got a big bruise on my hip. Yeah.
Dude.
I know.
Are you like, has this been a lifelong thing where you just like fall over?
No, but I will. I played these shows last weekend.
You should wrap yourself in bubble wrap.
I know.
You know what?
That's been suggested many times.
You should just go to Home Depot and get one of those big moving things and just walk around. You'd be like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. you know.
I'd be like some store mascot. Out there on the side of the road.
Totally.
Get your bubble wrap here.
Thing.
Mark Grubert's here. Good morning, Mark.
Mark.
So we're going to get into this here in a moment.
Cool. I do have a question before we get really deep
Ask
here.
away.
I have to ask this. You said that the show's like anywhere between an hour and 2 hours long.
Yeah.
And I'm cool. I'm totally cool with that. I can sit here and be an idiot for 2 hours, but I also know me. And so I'm just going to throw this right out there. What if I have to pee?
You're not going to pee.
What if I got to pee?
You're with Fred Fisher.
Fred, I got to pee. I got to go pee.
You're with Fred Fisher. You're with Fred Fisher.
I'm with Fred Fisher. This is going to be like, what happens with, what was that show you said, Kelly and Mark? Kelly, what if Mark has to pee? Does he they take a commercial break and he goes pee?
No. This is live TV.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm going to cancel my lessons for today, and I'm going to stay on the couch, elevated and iced up.
Oh, dude, that sucks. I'm sorry.
Weekend, and then the week after, I'm going back to Indianapolis to the scene of the crime. And hey, James Harrison's here. He says, just use your Starbucks cup. You're not cool unless you pee your pants.
Yeah, so if you see me sitting here going like this, yeah, man,
getting really fidgety.
Yeah.
A little gurgle in your speech.
Yeah, exactly.
So today's episode is sponsored by Aquarian Drumheads. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. I don't have there's some Aquarian Drumheads back there on the drums.
Yeah. So we are going to raffle off a giveaway, a 14-inch texture-coated snare drum head.
Excellent.
So here's how this is going to work. I'll have to talk about this a couple different times. Where'd the logo go? There it is. If you want to be entered, simply put Drummergy in the comments section, and the little producer is going to write that down and put it in the comments, because Mrs. Producer is gone. She's already left to meet up with the Battalion Drum and Bugle Corps to volunteer for the next 2 weeks. So I asked my son Jude if he would be the little producer today and keep track. Right, Jude? Yep, he says, yep.
Jude the dude.
So
Jude the dude.
Here we are with Aquarian. This is my favorite snare drum head. My favorite one.
What is it? A Focus X? What is it?
Nope, just a single ply texture coated head.
You want to know something? That's what I have on the entire drum kit. I've got classic clears on the bottom. I've got texture coateds on the top, a super kick on the batter side of the kick drum head, and a sealed regulator on the front. I don't have a ported bass drum head. It's all sealed up. And yeah, man, I'm pretty old school. I like my drums to sound like a drum. I like them to go ding.
They probably sound amazing.
You know what? The new kit, all my drums sound great. That's what's on this kit is this one is ported. This kick drum in here is ported, because depending on recording and stuff, I have different miking techniques I'll use.
Yeah.
If I use two mics, because there's an internal mic in all my drums.
Yeah.
But everything else is just single ply. Excuse me. And man, I tune them up higher than in like a lot of rock guys. You play the drums,
Yeah.
Mine are ding, dong, dong. I tune them up like a jazz drummer. And sometimes even for me, where I'm sitting, it's a little disheartening. It's like, wow, these things are kind of up here tight. But then I stand out there where somebody's playing my kit.
Yeah.
And like 5-10 feet away, I'm like, oh my God, the kit sounds fantastic.
Yeah, when you get a little distance between it and your ears.
Oh, man.
I probably tune somewhere in between those two worlds. I use the Force 10 clears on top on my toms and the classic clear on the bottom.
Yeah.
And I used to tune pretty low.
Yeah.
And then over the last couple of months, I started going, I wonder if these would cut a little bit better if I tune them up a little bit. And so I started doing that, and yeah, it sounds amazing. But I run this single ply texture head on my Ludwig Superphonic.
Yep.
And it just sounds beautiful. It's just, I love it. I love it.
I
Okay,
have a
Jude,
number of snare
I'm going to
drums.
check in with the producer. Jude, did you get James Harrison's name down? Producer kid? Hi. He's not as on it as the producer.
He's over there.
Yeah, it's on. So you got to flip back and forth between YouTube. See, I'm training. This is a training episode. I'm
Excellent.
You got to flip back and forth between YouTube.
It's just Bart. We're going to train on Bart's episode.
It's like, you know, when you go to a restaurant and the waitress, waiter or waitress is coming to you and they've got a shadow and you're kind of like, oh no.
Yeah.
This is going to go down.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm going to have to ask for water 13 times to get it twice. Right? So you see that flipping back and forth between the two screens? Facebook. Okay, put James Harrison's name down. Put it in the bucket. He says if he wins, for me to donate the drum head to a student. Okay, he's on it. There we go.
Awesome. Fantastic.
All right, so I like to start the show with goofy holidays and see where that leads. Today is National Chicken Wing Day. Are you a chicken wing connoisseur?
You know, I can take them or leave them. Like I mean, everybody likes chicken wings. I don't dislike them, but I won't purposely order them at a restaurant or have them as an appetizer. But if they're there, of course, I'm gonna partake. But it's not my go-to. But I do like them. I do like them. Yeah.
I like how you think. Like you let somebody else in the band order those,
yeah,
knowing they're not going to eat them all.
Yeah.
And so you can get in it, one or two or three or five.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I do have to say and this is just me, the hotter, the better. Like I love spicy food. I really do. You saw my buddy. I make salsa, right? And yes. we got to talk about that too, because I've got to talk to you about that. This needs
Let's
to be
talk about it. This is the food segment of the show.
But you saw that thing a few weeks ago that I put where Michael Anthony ate my salsa. You saw that, right? I put it on Facebook.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So my salsa is Michael Anthony approved. So that's right up there with, that's somewhere in the Bible that, Michael Anthony likes your salsa. Yeah.
So. Do you know if Sammy Hagar ever got any?
No, he did not. I know for a fact he didn't, because I do know for a fact that Michael Anthony chowed it all down. He ate all of it. Yeah.
I saw that video where he was eating your salsa.
That was pretty cool.
Was that on Get on the Bus?
Yeah. My buddy owns that. Have you watched any of those? You watched the Tommy Aldridge one?
I haven't watched the Tommy Aldridge one. I know I've seen a few. And then I think when you were out with the Sam Morrison band this last run that you took a tour of that bus.
Yeah, it was right before we left. So what happened is Jim is a dear friend of mine. Remember that band Wildside from the he was a drummer for that band.
Okay.
And so he and he still is. They still do their thing a little bit. And anyway, he takes lessons from me, and great guy, really good drummer. Really good drummer. We're working on hand technique and molar and stuff.
Nice.
And so anyway, he cool, Anthony, I love that show.
Yeah.
So he called me up, and for him, I do a house call, right? I have some of my students, I have a couple students I do house calls for. And so he's like, dude, when you're coming over for the lesson, I have to drop the bus off over at Mike Thompson's to get some work done on it. And can you just pick me up and then we'll go to my house for the lesson? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's literally like just off the freeway. So I go over and I pick him up, and I got on there and kind of did a tour of it. And I'd seen it before when he first got it. And it's really awesome, man. He's a great guy. So plug for him, Jim, you owe me $100 now, because I just plugged your show on the Drummergy podcast. If you're watching this,
that's right.
Check out Get on the Bus. It's a fantastic show, and great interviews, and what a great concept it is. It's a really cool concept. And he's done a great job on the bus. Yeah. I used to own my dad's bus, so I'm kind of a gearhead guy. and I can talk motors and transmissions and Jake brakes all day. I love that stuff. So
okay, I got to know. So when you're out touring, and you tour a lot, and all these topics, Bart, are going to tie in together with your book.
Okay.
Are you the mechanically minded one in the band?
Yeah. If it doesn't work, get a hammer and hit it. Yeah, I am. I am. Actually, all of us are. I've tried to have this active restraint over the last few years, and not because I don't want to do it. I think the psychology of being in a band is kind of deep, you know.
Yeah.
I'm messing with my volume right now, so if it's going up and down or it's too loud or something, just tell me. I'm trying to make it sound
fine on my side.
okay. Cool. Anyway, I think the psychology of being in a band is deep. You know, I mean, you're dealing with, you know, in my case, there's 6 of us, and you know, if we're standing on one side of the street and there's a 7-Eleven on the other side of the street, and we want to go to that 7-Eleven, you'll come up with 6 different ways to get there. Nobody, you know, you can't agree. Let's just walk across the street to 7-Eleven. Yes. You know, that's the way life works, and it's not my band or it's life, right? It's how people work. So I think that sometimes when it comes to little things like mechanical things, it's really easy to come across as a know-it-all or being pushy, and that's not what I want to do. That's not who I want to be.
Yeah.
So I of course, I mean, I'm going to jump in there and get my hands dirty and let's get this thing down the road. But you know, if the other guys can take care of it, I'll let them. And again, it's just, I don't always want to have to be the guy with the answers, because then you kind of, like I said, it comes across as being pushy. So I kind of, when I need to do it, I jump in and do it. When I have but then I have an active restraint to just go, you know what, let's let them do it.
Well, with Midline, I was the only mechanical minded one in the band, and anytime there was a problem, they all looked to me to
I get that, and that's kind of yeah.
I personally dropped the transmission out of our motorhome and put a new one in when we were in Montana.
Yeah. Dude, and that's the thing. Like I get that, and not a problem. We got to change the tranny. Let's do it. I mean, where's the wrenches? I'm right there with you. There is a couple guys in the band. Like if I see them heading towards something with the wrench, I'm like, just give me that. Go sit down. But there's a few of them that I'll like, yeah, they can handle it. And,
yes.
And our bass player, man, okay, I have to say this, and I will say this as an extreme positive. My bass player, Greg Kasparian, is, I mean, he's the closest thing to a saint I've ever known. The guy he's the best person I've ever known. I really, really, really adore the guy. He's a dear, dear, dear friend. And he's a great dude. And he is he's the smart guy in the band, you know? And so I really look to him for a lot. And he's really good with electrical stuff. Like he's really phenomenal with electrical stuff. He can read schematics really well. And yeah, really, really super smart dude.
Okay. You found a smart bass player. Are you sure he plays bass?
Sorry, did I say bass? Sorry.
You did. Are you confusing that with a guitar player?
No, guitar players. No, don't get me started on guitar players. Don't get me started on guitar players.
Jude, are you keeping track of people?
Jude, what are you doing over there, for God's sakes?
He's in the other room with his headphones on. He's paying attention. So
Jude's playing some video game on his phone right now.
No, I think he's watching. He can hear us. Yeah, he's excited to do this part. He's excited to be here. And I asked him, I said, have you ever watched my show? He said, no.
What?
I don't think an 11-year-old's really that into
I don't think so.
Drummergy Podcast. But
he's more into Dad fell down the stairs again.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I'm so sorry you did that, dude. Are you okay?
I think so. And Matt Muckle called me just moments before you got on, and he said, I saw your post, dude. Are you
I didn't see it. What time did it happen? Like, I didn't see it.
Around 9 o'clock last night.
Oh, dude. You know what? Last night I had a super long day yesterday. So I literally sat down on the couch and I was watching TV and I was out. So, oh, dude, there you are.
Yeah,
Holy
look how
crap.
swollen that leg is.
Son of a gun, dude.
Yeah, it's less swollen this morning, but I am gonna stay on the couch and icing and elevating and
Wow,
yeah,
bro.
I can walk and get around. But it feels like I'm moving like I did, 2.5 months ago.
You know what? I remember. So remember, I told you I broke my leg, and it took me like a long time before like I could pull my foot up and touch my butt with my foot. It just, and I fell one time and I fell backwards and it like crunch. Oh God, that sucked so bad. And yeah, I get you.
I think that's kind of what happened. It just, because I hadn't been able to fully get my foot back to my butt, and it did last night.
Well, you know what? I had a buddy of mine who broke his leg, and his doctor, like, when he got out of the cast, he forced it. He was like, dude, you've got to get this. And, and so I don't know, maybe you didn't do as much damage as you thought. Maybe you just kind of like shocked it or something.
You know what went through my head? And you can have these thoughts in milliseconds, right?
Yeah.
Because I got 2 plates of metal on each side of that bone with all these screws going in. As I fell and that was twisting, I was picturing my head like all of that twisting with it, and which is impossible for that to happen. But Mary, I was texting Mary because she's in Ohio now, and she said, "Well, remember the doctor said I would have to do something pretty catastrophic to really have damaged it again." Yeah. And I just think that it forced my leg to fold all the way. Yeah. And in that pulled everything, the muscle and tissue or whatever. And like I said, my left wrist is what hurts the most, but it's not swollen. See, it's not swollen.
Yeah.
I think as I landed, it probably pulled something in there too. So
that's rough.
Gummit. All right. So
you gotta be careful.
Yes. I want to mention this a few different times because I was so thankful when I messaged Chris Brady, our friend at Aquarian.
Yeah.
Who you've known for a gazillion years.
Have I shown you that picture? Crap, I lost
it. Where you're outside of the shop with.
Yeah, I don't even know where I put it anymore. I don't know where it is. You want to see it? Yeah, I found it. All right. And we can show this later for there's Bart and Chris.
There you guys are.
Look at that.
Yeah. Boom, baby.
The thing about Chris and I is and Chris is just that guy. He's such a liked human. He's such a great dude. And it's kind of this way with Aquarian as a whole. Once you're on the Aquarian roster, you are it's a cliche. It's like it's a family, but like I can't just go over to Aquarian and I got to grab some heads and get out of here. Like you've got to plan an hour to 2 hours around it, because you go and you hang and you have coffee and you joke around, and they're wonderful people. And Chris and I, it's not a regular thing because we're both busy and have lives and stuff, but outside of Aquarian, we've hung out many times. He's a friend, it's not just an A&R thing. And he's a friend and a great guy. And if he called right now and needed me, I'm like, sure, I'm there. Let's go. He's a great guy. Wonderful guy.
So it was super cool when I messaged him. Actually, I called him and said, I'm going to have Bart on the show. And he said, why?
You know what? He last night I'm in the middle of lessons and I got a call from him. So I thumbed the call and I texted him, hey man, I'm giving a lesson. I'll call you later. And then I called him later and he didn't pick up. So he was probably calling me to bust my balls about something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Jude, what are you doing in there? Jude, what's going on?
He's smiling pretty big.
You awake?
All right. So if you guys are interested, and he just screamed out. He said he's awake. We are giving away a drum head from Aquarian Drumheads. All you got to do is comment Drummergy in the comment section and you will be entered in there. So
Yeah,
we'll talk about that. We'll plug that a few times throughout the show here. All right. So Bart,
yep,
I wanted to have you on because not only are you a drummer and a recording artist and a session guy and a touring guy and all of these things, we wear a gazillion hats.
we do.
You're also an author.
I am.
You've written instructional books, and you also had a book called The Rhythmic Journey, which I don't have near me.
You know what? I have I don't know how to share my screen. Yes, I do have a book called The Rhythmic Journey.
Yes.
That came out a couple of years ago at 2023 or 24 that came out. And right at the end of 2023 is when that came out. And then Drum Up Your Business.
The new one right here.
The new one. And I don't have, believe it or not, I don't have any to hold up because we just got off tour and all of my stuff is in the trailer. And I'm going over. So if anybody wants to buy a hard copy of my book, you can order it on my website. And I'm going over there.
Going there at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Drum Up Your Business at bartrobley.com.
You need to buy that book. It will change your religion.
Yes.
But no, I'm going, I got to run over Friday and get my stuff out of the trailer, but all my stuff's in the trailer in our swag. So I got to go grab that. And so, but if you order a book through my website, you want a hard copy, you can, I'll get that out to you this week. And then if you get if you want the digital version, which a lot of people are opting for that, you can go to Hudson Music and it's published there on Hudson Music. So it's Hal Leonard on the print and Hudson on the digital.
But I'm going to recommend you get the hard copy and then see, I requested mine to be autographed.
Yeah. You know what? Chris Brady's never even asked for an autographed copy. He just doesn't care.
Let's go let the air out of his tires later today.
No, watch. He's going to have a flat when he comes up from work. He's like, Bart, Fred, what'd you guys do?
Okay, little Mr. Producer, do you see the other names that popped on?
Jude, pay attention.
We got Seal and we got Brian. You on it, bro? You got it. Jude's on it.
Dudes.
I love this.
Hey, I know I'm not the first one to go Jude the dude, but
I call him Judo Chop. He's always been my little chopperoni.
Yeah, dude, Judo Chop. That's freaking great. I love that.
Yeah.
Judo Chop.
All right, Bart, I think this book is going to be the feature of today's show.
Good.
I've read it cover to cover, and then I skimmed it again two or three more times as I was cherry picking some information out of here. Okay. So Drum Up Your Business. DRUM is an acronym for Determination, Relationships, Understanding, and Mentorship, which is awesome.
And incidentally, if you don't mind me interrupting you, what I've decided to do is I'm going to make the Drum Up a series. And I'm already doing little video. Originally, I was like, I'm going to do a podcast around this, I'm going to this. And I was like, I've got so much going on with drummers education, connection, and everything. The last thing I have time to do is another podcast. So I'm doing little short videos on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you wouldn't mind. I'd appreciate that.
Yep.
And it's just little business tidbits and things that I wish I would have known when I was a kid. When I was first getting into the music business. And that's kind of been my thing on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is a bit of hodgepodge of everything. I've got videos from songs and side projects up there. I've got all kinds of stuff up there. But the majority of the stuff that I have on my YouTube channel are some, just if you're new to the music business, and I always say a young drummer, but you don't necessarily need to be a young drummer who's, in their teens or 20s. if you're new to drumming, if you're an adult drummer and you want to get into the business, there's so many things, so many potholes to fall into.
Yeah.
And I know because I've fallen in them all. That's what this advice is from. I never want to come across as chest pounding. I want to come across, I sincerely, it's like, man, I blew it so bad right here. And so I want to tell other people how not to blow it. I think that success is found underneath a gigantic pile of mistakes. And
Ooh, I like that.
so I think that you have to, at some point as a drum teacher, we can talk paradiddles and ratomacues all day long, and I'm fine with that. But what I've found as a drum teacher is that, and you and I've talked about this, we talk about this on deck every once in a while. The lesson goes from being a lesson to being therapy sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I'm fine with that. And it's not even therapy, it's just more of a mentorship. And so that's kind of what the whole premise of the book is, and a lot of the videos and stuff that I do.
That's going to be cool to have like a video series to parallel the book. In 2019, I'm sure you've experienced this along the way, or know other drummers and musicians who have experienced that they have this passion and desire to play music, but there never seems to be a way, at least in their mind, to make that their living. Mm-hmm. And it's just such a hazy, cloudy mess of things to get through.
Yeah.
And so it's very discouraging when you're faced with that, and then compile that with years of that where you kind of give up.
Yeah.
You're like, well, this will just be like, I'm going to just leave my guitar in the closet and I'll take it out every once in a while,
right,
and mess around with it. And I'm going to be okay with, whatever my day job is. And just to be clear, is like, there's nothing wrong with the day job either. Right. But I think there's some of us out there that just have this deep burning inside to want more for music. And that was me. And I just spent so many years banging my head against the wall to where I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I finally came across Matt Starr through a network of people that I was working with and that he was working with and other things, to where we ended up meeting each other. And his story is very similar to mine in the headache and all of that. And so I needed a mentor. And so in 2019, that's when I went to the NAMM show for the first time, and I met with him. And then I ended up meeting with Jonathan Mover, and then Hank Linderman, who was a producer for the Eagles. And all of these guys never told me, you can't do this.
Right.
They said, you can do this, and you need to follow these steps in order to make that happen.
Can I use this as a way to plug something else here? Because as you said, I'm what's that?
I guess so.
I guess so. Whatever, Bart. I bought you a coffee and shoved it through the internet. Now you want the world.
That's right.
I don't really have I don't have one drummer that I can point to and go, that's the guy that I try to play like, or my biggest influence, because everybody has something to offer. Right. Yeah. I mean, I have drum students, like they'll play something and you're like, wow, I never thought of that. I think if you're open-minded to that stuff. So Matt, I've done some sessions with Matt too, and I can't say enough good about him and what he is doing.
Yeah,
he is a great drummer, first of all, and he's a great guy and very influential, very determined, and I really like that about him, and it's very inspiring. And so, because of what I said a while ago about sometimes the drums are my drum lessons with students are a therapy session or what have you, I decided that I'm starting a coaching thing because I've been doing coaching for a while, but I went ahead and I'm making it official that a part of my business is just coaching, like life coaching. So I'm taking on not just drummers and musicians, but anybody that is an entrepreneur. So anyway, I did this, and I did this a number of years ago. It's on Amazon, and maybe we can put a link to it. I can send it to you. Maybe Jude can grab it. I did this personal daily success planner.
Yeah.
And it's a book full of prompts, and it's literally just every day you fill it out. And it goes throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, you reflect on your successes, and then you springboard into the next day. And it's all of my students and all of my clients who use it love it. And it's one of those things that just, it helps you think forward. It helps you get to that next level. Because the way I look at it is when you're doing something, I've got this hand here, here's my obstacle, and then there's the computer screen. And my goal in life is to get to the computer screen, right? So whatever it is that I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get that obstacle out of the way. So I either need to blow that obstacle up, or I need to go under it, or I need to go around it, or I need to go over it, or whatever I have to do. And that's what this does. It helps us kind of do that. So check out that, please.
I know that you and I are both people who like to physically write things down on paper.
Very much so. And that's what this is.
And there's all these like inspirational quotes and stuff like if you don't write it down, it turns to vapor, those kind of things. And I have a paper calendar notebook, and I write everything that I do down in it. Every lesson that I taught, what students showed up, all the gigs I've played, all the session work that I do, everything is written down in this book. And it's kind of cool to, once you start filling that out, to go look at all the stuff I accomplished.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good motivation to continue forward. And I keep track of my financial position in that as well, like where the money's coming from, whether it's teaching or recording or playing or those kind of things, like Amazon associate stuff and all these different little streams of revenue that can come in. And it's motivation to go, I did these things and that was the result of it. And it's good metrics to keep, because you can go, ooh, this really worked. I need to do more of that.
Yeah, totally.
And just keep everything on that horizon all the time.
Yeah. And I think that I do agree that writing things down is like incredibly, incredibly important, because, I'm still kind of like a sticky note guy. Here, tell me if this comes across in the chat. I just put a link to the Amazon thing. Did you get it?
I see the private chat here. Let's see if I can copy link. Look at this. Nope. Did I? I don't think I did it right. Let me.
Okay. Well, let's see.
I don't want to do that either.
Join chat. Connect YouTube. I don't want to do that. Well, don't want to do that either.
Copy this. Go back to comments. I was in the wrong window, I think.
There you go. So anyway, while you're doing that, I think writing things down. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Yeah. So guys, check that out. It's a really great tool. And I agree with you, Fred. I think that writing stuff down, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this. It helps so much in little things. Okay. So like I've got a sticky note over here on this computer screen to call somebody, and the number's there, and it reminds me. I know that everybody in the world walks around with this in their hand, and they're going like this all the time and staring at their phone. And I'm not against that. Everybody has an app for everything. There's an app to track how fast your toenails grow. I don't know that we can. I mean, there's apps, right? There's apps for everything. So there's great practice apps and everything. But I'm a firm believer, and going and writing things down from your head, down your arm, out of the pen or the pencil onto the paper. There's something magical about that.
Yeah.
And I've kind of got that from like going to therapy myself and talking to therapists. And then also Sam from the Sam Morrison band. Every morning, you know, I've been on tour with that guy for 25 years. I've been everywhere with him. So, you know, you live with the guy, you know,
Yeah.
he's, you know, every morning he gets up, gets his coffee, and he goes, sits down somewhere and he writes. And he calls it free writing, a brain dump. And he just goes. And that's his therapy. And he's super mellow and he's well thought out. And he says it's an exercise in just working things out. And he goes, I don't even think about what I'm going to write. It's just like the pen takes over, you know? So anyway,
Yeah.
I think that having a prompt, having something like the, you know, the personal daily success planner is so important because you write it down and then it's out there. And then you see it throughout the day. And then if you stick with it, they say it takes 30 days to build a habit, right? So for 30 days, you do this and you start looking back and you're going to notice two things. Number one, you're going to notice the things you did accomplish. And then number two, you're going to look back and go, oh man, I missed the mark. And maybe I forgot about something that I wanted to do because I got so into this other thing. So it's a great tool. It's a great tool. So check it out.
All right. We're going to get back to Drum Up Your Business.
Oh yeah, that one.
Our regular scheduled program. Drum, that acronym. So the first one being determination. So I cherry picked some stuff from your book. I don't want to give away the whole book because I want people to get it because to me, it's really inspiring. And
thank you.
And for all those that are watching, this is a great outline that covers a lot of subjects and sub-subjects under each of these things that can really guide you in how to become a successful musician and all these different avenues that you can take. So drum, or determination being the D for drum, is, let's see, there it is. You wrote, it's the quiet resolve that whispers, keep going when you want to quit.
Yeah, very much so.
Can you expand off of that, Bart? Like what does that mean when you wrote that?
Well, there's, like you had said a minute ago, where you got to that point in your life where you were like, well, maybe I'll just play the drums on the weekend and have fun with it. And there is nothing wrong with that. Like I know a lot of guys that's what they do. I have a lot of students that's what they do. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to start with that. But for, like you said, people like you and I, who it's like, no, it's way more than that. It's so much deeper than that. I have to do this. There are times, and I can specifically right now, I have in my mind's eye a point in my life where I was like, you know, I've got to do something else. My father was very successful. He was a very successful businessman. He owned a construction business, and he made millions of dollars. And to me, that's always because of him. And I looked up to him so much. I was like, oh my God, I'm not successful because I'm not a, you know, multimillionaire. And I think that that didn't pull me that much. I mean, of course, I wanted to, you know, love to have an account full of money that I could go buy all my toys and widgets with, but there's so much more to it. And so the determination is when you're like, you know, I'm going to tap out and I'm going to go start a window installing. I'm going to go start installing transmissions in motorhomes. I can do that. I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep playing the drums. This is hard. It's not easy. But you know what? If I decided to start a window installing business, or I decided, you know what, I'm going to put transmissions in motorhomes, that's not going to be easy either. Is the physical act of putting let's say I had all the correct tools. I had a transmission lift and I had the, you know, everything where I could get underneath the motorhome. I could unbolt it. I could put in the new one. I could lift it up. There's going to be some physical stuff going on there, but is this hard to do? No, it's really not that hard. I understand how it works. I understand the mechanics. It's not that hard. Finding the customers, marketing yourself, all that stuff's going to be hard. That's going to take determination to do that. So why would I start over? Why would I quit all the years that I've put into this thing right back here, this drum set that I love so much and love doing so much? Why would I put that on the shelf just to start over again? And so you have to dig into that determination. And when the gigs aren't there, or you're not in a band, or you are in a band and it's not the perfect situation, which, by the way, it never will be. Yeah. You've got to just keep going. You've got to reach into that determination. Determination is inspiration's one thing. I do a lot of master classes and a lot of clinics. And if you come to one of my clinics or my master classes or anybody's master class or clinic, you're going to be inspired. You're going to be, man, that's really inspiring. You're going to be influenced, very influential. I've got to go play just like, drummer X.
Yeah.
And then you go sit down behind the drums and you're like, oh my God, I can't play like drummer X. That's where it takes the determination to sit there and go over it and over it and over it until you get it right. The determination sitting and staring at your computer screen till your eyes are bleeding, writing a book or putting a website together or whatever. Do
you think determination is the physical participation in it? It's like, even when mental, you're like, I just don't want to. You want to be lazy or whatever. Like, the physical part of that takes over, and you're like, I'm just gonna do the work. Do you think that's part of determination?
Yeah, I do, and it can be the physical part of the work. I mean, I've been touring most of my adult life, and there's been times recently where it's like, oh my God, we just drove for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Now I got to set up. Then I got to sound check. Then I got to go entertain a room full of people.
Yeah.
That takes determination.
Yeah.
And then on the backside of that, then I got to tear down, I got to load out, and I got to drive another 6 hours. And that does happen, by the way. It does happen. Everybody, I'm a caveat to this, kind of a little side note is, and I say this to everybody. I've said it on deck. I said on, all the time. When you go see a band, and this is a drummer podcast, so drummers are watching.
Yes.
When you go see a band, or you see whoever your favorite drummer is, whoever, whatever style of music, and they're up there and they're crushing it, they're just killing it. You're witnessing the end result of a ton of hard work. And I'll go as far as to say, I'm not even talking about the hard work that it took to be able to play the instrument like that. I'm talking about all the work it took to set up that room that day before they opened the doors for you to walk in and sit down and be entertained. It's unbelievable the amount of work that goes into this stuff.
Yeah.
So that is the determination that you have to tap into, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
When I was reading your book, like the first 4 chapters are the acronym for drum, and then you have 5 and 6. And in chapter 6, you kind of recap some of these, and you said determination is the driving beat, the kick drum of your business.
Yep.
And so I have that marked. It was so cool, Bart. I'm reading along in this, and here in chapter 6, discuss determination, the driving beat, and then you have this paragraph, this real life story. Fred Fisher, a professional drummer and educator from Boise, Idaho, faced a major setback when an accident sidelined him with a broken leg. And you talked about my determination to work through that. And you've got other real life stories attached to these different subheadings. And it's really cool that you included not just me, but other people in, like, here's a person that was faced with this obstacle and how they got around it in these different facets of all of that. So first of all, thank you for mentioning me. That was so cool. But yeah, so now I told my students about that. So now they just call me Mr. Kick Drum.
Awesome. You know, tell them, go
I am
buy
the
the
kick
book.
drum.
Buy the book. Go buy Bart's book.
Instead of I am the walrus, I am the kick drum now. Hey, Mr.
So we got to think of, hey, Jude, what are you doing in there?
Did you get Thomas in there?
What about Tony?
Tony has not put Drummergy in the comments.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Tony put Drummergy in the comments.
Tony's a front of house engineer.
The way you just said that, poor Tony. Hey, look.
Get in the back.
Hold on, Fred. Pump the brakes. I got to put this in the next book. Yeah. Because there's three people you never want to piss off. Okay. The first one is the monitor guy. The second one is the front of house guy. And the third one is the guy at the drive-up window. Three people get up in the pink, man.
I don't want Tony spitting in my drum mix.
You don't want Tony spitting in your mix.
Tony was the front of house guy for Midline for about 11 years when we were touring really heavy. Oh, really? And that guy's been through a lot with the band. And cool. He helped me with the transmission in Montana.
Did he?
He was the one guy in the crew that didn't mind getting his hands dirty.
Yeah, you got to get, if you're going to be in a band, you got to get your hands dirty.
Tony's the real deal, man.
Right.
All right. So moving on from determination, we go to relationships. And this one is like such a crucial part of this, I believe.
Yeah.
So it includes networking. And some people hear networking, they like it's a bad word. Like somehow there's some association of networking to like, I'm going to be friends with that guy because of what they can do for me.
No, wrong.
And so I think networking gets a bad rap because of that. But I don't think that's I don't think it's a bad thing at all to network with people. I just feel like if I get to know them, their experience and their wisdom can rub off on me and help me. And who has too many friends?
Right.
Nobody does.
Right. I completely agree. And networking, you said something right there that really kind of is, it's a deeper thought than just the word networking. You said, what can this person do for me?
Right.
And I think in networking, it should be, what can I do for this person?
Yeah.
What can I do for that person? You've got to spin it around. Everybody in the music business, a lot of time people are in it for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak everything I do when I teach and when I do these things, I'm teaching from I've done this. I've gone through this, much like yourself, putting the transmission in the motorhome in Montana. You know, I've had incidences where, and I've had to sidestep from some of this stuff, but you know, okay, we'll use my vehicle. I'll take care of that. You know, what can you bring to the table in a relationship for that relationship to work? With a band, with any relationship, but really with a band, those relationships, it can't be about the individual. It's about the greater sum of the whole. Yeah. And so you want to see what it is that you can bring to the table. And I also liked what you said where, okay, maybe this person's experience or influence can rub off on me and I can learn from them. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's about taking. I think relationships, there's always going to be an ebb and flow, sure. But I think relationships that are beneficial and successful are the ones where you're giving back to it. You know, I mean, we've all been in bands with that one dude that what they bring to the table is they show up, they plug in, they play, and then at the end of the gig, they complain about how their tone was awful, and how they completely screwed up and they played crappy because their tone was awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we've all played with that person, and that person's nobody wants to play with that guy or girl.
I have a great networking story I want to share that you know the story really well, Bart, but not everybody does. So, and people, this book that Bart wrote just was like super inspirational to me. I was really happy to read it. I'm like, I got to read it again. And a lot of the stuff I know already, but somehow like reinforcing these ideas and this mode of operations, if you will, I think are really, really important. Hey, little producer guy, did you get Daniel Marshall?
Judo chop.
You can't be sleeping on the job, bro.
Yeah. Jude, wake up, Jude.
Down? Okay, I got a thumbs up. Daniel, you're in.
Daniel.
Okay, so
we woke Jude up for you, Danny.
I watch a lot of YouTube, and I watch a lot of drumming YouTube things. And I saw Chip Ritter on the David Letterman show doing his thing.
Yeah.
Which I thought was awesome. This is back when I watched late night television a lot.
Did you see it live?
I did. Yeah. And I thought that was super cool. And so I started following Chip on YouTube. Well, one thing that was associated with Chip that popped up was the Drummer's Education Connection, which you're involved with. Did you start that, by the way, Bart?
No, what happened was the way that it came to be was it was right when COVID hit. It was a COVID project and the world shut down.
Yeah.
And I've always tried, even at my darker times of life, I've tried to keep myself physically fit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I was out on a hike and my phone rang and it was Chip. And he goes, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know I want to do something. And so we got on a Zoom call and he goes, I just want to do something to help drummers and drum teachers. I was like, that's a great idea. And he asked me if I knew Rick. And I was like, oh yeah, I know Rick. And so we got him involved, and then Rick knew Jeremy, and that's how it got started.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So I found Chip because of David Letterman, and then I followed him on YouTube, and then through that discovered Drummer's Education Connection, which involved you and Rick Stojak and Jeremy Steinkohler. Right. And I thought the different things that you guys talked about were really interesting. And so I started watching that show. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to send out friend requests on Facebook to everybody, and everybody accepted my friend request. But it was you, Bart, that continuously put these like short, 30 seconds to a couple minute little, I'm on tour and here's a tip of the day kind of thing. And it could be drum related, or it could be like gear, drumming related, gear related. The other thing that really stuck out to me was you did a video on teaching from the road.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was in Jackson Hole, Wyoming on the road, and I had rearranged my teaching schedule so I would be able to go and do that. So I juggled a bunch of stuff around. So we're staying in like this hotel suite that has a kitchen and everybody has their own room and everything. And I'm spending my day twiddling my thumbs, and here you were teaching from the road. And I thought, I never even crossed my mind that I could do that.
Right.
And so when I saw that, I thought, here's a guy who's really cool. He's doing these little videos and he's doing similar things to me. Like, I'm going to reach out to Bart. So I sent you a message.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
That's been 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I share that story because I reached out to you because you were doing this really cool thing, and you were so gracious with your time and said, yeah, man, I can walk you through that and what you need to do. And now through all of that, I have a handful of students I teach online exclusively.
Right.
And if I want to teach from the road, I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
And
go ahead. Sorry.
So we got on this phone call, you and I, and then we did like a couple Zoom lesson type things and to walk me through all the boxes to check. And we've started this friendship.
Yeah.
Was born from that. And it seemed like that winter maybe or fall, you said, hey, do you want to be on the Drummers Education Connection as a guest? I'm like, sure. And so ever since then, I've become really great friends with you and Rick and Jeremy and Chip. And you guys call me sometimes. I call you guys, depending on what's going on. Right. And then a year ago, when I broke my leg, you and the rest of the guys rallied behind me with all of that. And so it wasn't a networking thing like these guys could benefit from knowing them and my career is going to take off. It was just like this genuine relationship started. And so my circle of friends just exploded from that. So that was, I think when you're wanting to network with people, all you got to do is just say, hi, I really dig what you're doing. What do you think about XYZ or whatever that is?
Yeah.
And just see where that road goes. It's so easy with social media and the internet and websites to reach out to anybody. Right. And the success rate of actually people getting back to you is pretty high. I think most people that are genuine want to share their information, you know. Yeah. I really do. And I'm going to throw a lot out here. When we moved into this new house, 4 years ago now, we had lived in the old house for 21 years. And so we had 21 years of junk laying around, you know? So we started selling and getting rid of stuff and throwing stuff out. And I found this box and it had a bunch of magazines and stuff that I had written for. There was this magazine called Music Scene International. And it was one of those little newspapers that used to be like on the inside of when you walk through a club, you know, what's going on in town this week. Oh yeah.
And so I wrote for that. And I was like, oh my God, this is so archaic. I wrote a double bass article, right? And I was like, oh my God. And when I say archaic, like this was so long ago that like I didn't even have a computer program that I could do music notation, you know, and it was, you know, it was not the easiest thing in the world to do. There was a lot of hoops that I had to jump through to get this stuff published. But my point with that is I've always had I've always had this desire to put what it is that I've learned out there, and not as a, you know, I know the answers to everything. It's just like I said before with writing the book, it's like, hey, look out for that hole. You're going to fall in it, you know, because I fell in it. I know, you know, and again, you know, success is at the bottom of a giant pile of mistakes. And so I'm trying to help with that. So I've written forever, and I have a blog on Medium. Now, if you don't know what Medium is, just medium.com. And I think it's a couple bucks a year to join. I mean, literally, I think it's like $5 a year to join Medium. And there's so many incredible articles on there on all walks of life, everything from mechanics to psychology to everything. And I agree with, I think it's really important to watch YouTube. I love YouTube. There's so much great instructional stuff on there, but I think reading stuff, you kind of absorb it more, and the written word is important. Yeah. We have to keep that alive. It's an art form that's, I don't want to say it's dying, but it's, you know, it's an art form. We have to keep it alive. So I like to read. So check out Medium. I have a lot of articles on there, and I have articles on there about relationships and networking. And I think that networking and relationships is not as hard as what some people think it is. And as you said, Fred, it's not this networking. Oh, I don't want to network. Networking is done every day. If you go into Starbucks and you meet the barista in there, that person, every time you go to that same Starbucks, now you're going to, hey, how's it going today? What time you get off work? What do you do outside? That's networking. That's friendships. And you never know where that's going to lead, you know?
And then you want that person making your coffee all the time.
Exactly.
Just for whatever reason you think it's better, but you have that relationship with them.
Totally.
And I just think, like, man, if I had never reached out to you, and so that's like that inspiration versus determination thing as well. As like, I saw Bart do this video about teaching from the road, and I could have thought, oh, that's really inspiring. But when I saw that, I immediately took action. I sent you a message. But if I hadn't done that, like, I thought, oh, I'll just wait till I get back from the gig tonight, or I'll message him in a couple days. Like, that excitement, that inspiration at that moment fleets. It's gone.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
it's really easy to get out of there. You forget about it.
Yeah. But I just, you guys have enriched my life so much in just the friendship that we had. And just out of that simple little thing, like, hey, I want more information about this teaching from the road. Can you point me in the right direction? You're like, sure, man. Let's connect when we both get off the road.
Yeah, totally. And it works out great.
Yeah,
I've had, and if you're a drummer out there and you're whether you're touring or you're playing at a bar gig and you have something which there's nothing wrong with bar gigs. I do them all the time. I didn't mean it that way. And you have something that you want to share. Right? Like I have this one thing on my drum set that's this widget and it makes my life better. And I'll show you a widget here in a second. I want to share this with my drummer friends, right? And you do a video like that. Don't be shy about doing it. Don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we think, well, I'm going to do this and the other guys in the band are going to this, or the other guys in the band are going to that. There was a couple people that I worked with a few years ago that whenever I would do something like that, it was, they're like, why are you doing that? It's so dumb. You know, what you just think you know everything, you know, and why, you know, that's just so, and it's like, no, I'm sharing my knowledge. You know, I think that speaks volumes about them and their character.
Right.
But no, I'm sharing my knowledge, and you'd be surprised. I remember it specifically because of what the subject matter was. My drum set's pretty tweaked out, right? Like all my drums are internally mic'd. I can totally geek out on why I do that. You walk up to my kit, there's XLRs on the side, front of house guy, and we have our own in-ear monitoring system. Our stage is dialed. You plug into the XLRs on the drums, and sound guys love it. They love it. Well, I made the decision a couple of years ago that we had an incident happen in Arizona one night, and it was like, man, you know what? I need to just go all the way with this, and I need to start bringing my own overheads. And because that was all that was required of the sound person, was like, go ahead and put up your overheads and your hi-hat mic, and everything else I got covered. Well, because of this one incident, I made the decision. I'm an Audix guy. I've been with them for a while. I'm just going to order some mics and I'm going to do my own overheads. And so I started doing a lot of research, and I love Max Weinberg, and there's a great video on YouTube of Max Weinberg. He doesn't have overheads. All of his cymbals are mic'd from underneath, you know, so cymbals here.
Yeah.
Microphones there. And the reason they do that is because Bruce Springsteen, he wants people to walk into a stadium and look down at this little 4-piece drum set, and where's all that sound coming from? It's a cool thing for him, and that's what he wants. And so that's what they do. And I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. So all my microphones, I've got a mic right underneath my ride, an Audix F9. I've got two Audix F9s kind of out and pointing up towards the crashes, and then an Audix F9 going down to my hi-hat. And I did a video on that, right? I walked around and showed the kit. I showed how it's mic'd from the inside. I plugged my endorsers with that video, because on the inside of the kick drum, you can see the Kelly shoe. Thank you, Jeff Kelly. You're a saint.
Yeah.
I love Jeff, and him and his wife are amazing. And I plugged that. I plugged the Audix microphones. So it's a win-win there, because both of my endorsers, especially the Kelly Shoe, who doesn't, the Kelly Shoe, you can't see the Kelly Shoe from the stage, but it's one of the most sought out pieces of gear in the drumming industry, right? So I showed it. He was thankful for that. Audix Microphones was thankful for it. Chris said, "Oh, dude, thanks for doing that video." Well, then I got like 2 or 3 students, "Hey, man, how did you do that?" Got a couple of lessons out of it. I know I'll write a Medium article on it. So I write a Medium article. I put links in the Medium article to go to Audix to buy the microphones. It's a win-win for everybody. So that's where that relationship, and that's where that networking thing worked in everybody's favor.
Yeah.
But here's where the networking part comes in. Okay. When we said a minute ago, well, a lot of people think, well, networking, what can I get from this person? I'm going to network with Fred. What can I get from Fred? Well, look, in all this networking thing that I just said, I had to do a lot of work for that. I had to make the video. I had to show the stuff. I had to talk about it. Then I had to write the article. Then I had to upload it. Then I had to put the links in, all this stuff, right? I did the work, but everybody was thankful that I did the work. And again, I'm not chest pounding, but that's what networking is. I think that it's not all about what can I get from these people. I think networking is, how can I help these people? Again, drum up your business. I wrote the book. Hey, at the end of the day, I'm not a nonprofit. I gladly take my paycheck for a drum lesson.
Yeah.
I gladly take my paycheck for a recording session or from a book that I sell. But at the end of the day, I want when I leave the recording session, or I leave the gig, or you buy my book, at the end of the day, I want you to be, that place to be better because I had been there. That's my whole thing. That's what I want.
Yeah. So I think that's going to roll over into understanding the you in drums. But I'm going to do another plug here for the Drumhead before. So Aquarian Drumhead's sponsoring today's show, which is awesome. This is the first time I've actually had a sponsor help me out with the show. It's really, really cool. If you want to enter to win this Drumhead, put Drummergy in the comments.
And in case you're just tuning in, there's me and Chris Brady 8 billion years ago.
Yeah, at Aquarian Drumheads.
At Aquarian Drumheads.
So
and back then, look, it was Aquarian Coatings.
Yes.
It wasn't even Aquarian Drumheads. That's how Ron Marquez started the company. There's me and Chris. Look at that. Look at those two. Look at the size of that ugly blonde chick beside Chris.
I fell in love with Aquarian Drumheads in 1998 with the Super Kick 2 kick drum head.
Roy Burns said that. I remember Roy one time, and it was just off the cuff. He goes, "The Super Kick's the best thing we've ever done."
Yeah.
He believed in that drum head so much, and he was right.
Yeah. That was a game changer for me when I switched over to that. One of the local guys at the music store, I went in and I was saying, man, I'm kind of chasing the sound of my kick drum, of what I really want out of a kick drum. He's like, "Oh, dude, this is the answer to all your problems." And so I put that on and I was like blown away. And so that's when I switched everything over to Aquarian, and for the most part been really faithful with them. I've had some people like, "Oh, Evans," and some people Remo, or whatever. And I don't know. I just always been super satisfied with Aquarian. It just, you put them on and tune them up immediately, you're ready to go. And
I've never had, so Evans to me is really papery. They're really papery sounding, and they do, I'm not a fan. And I probably shouldn't be slamming I'm not slamming it, but I'm just, I really enjoy Aquarian, and Remo makes, both of them make a great product. They do make a great product. But the one thing that with Aquarian drum heads, you're going to break drum heads. Heads are going to break. You're beating the hell out of them with sticks. And I've broken Aquarians, but I've never had an Aquarian ever pull out of a hoop. Like it has not happened. Hasn't happened, doesn't happen. And the other two companies, man, the heads pull out of the hoop. And one of the things about the Super Kick too, and I've got the new kit that I have, I'm playing a 14 by 24. So it's a 14-inch deep, 24, real standard size drum. So 24, 13, 16 on my kit. It's 4-piece. And that 24 is pretty loud. It'll bark at you pretty good. But I use the Super Kick one on the batter side and a regulator on the front.
Mm-hmm.
And man, there's nothing in that drum. And every sound guy's like, dude, how do you get that sound out of that drum? And it's the drum head, and then I've got a D6X inside the kick drum and plug it in and away we go. And it's pretty loud. It's the other day in New York, the sound guy goes, give me a big note on the kick drum. Give me a real big note. And I was like, okay, man. I sat down and boom, it sounded like a bomb went off, He goes, I want your loudest note so I can mix from there. And all right. So I gave it to him and it was.
Was he happy?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Of course he was.
Of course he was.
So leading over into understanding, so you have these subheadings like understanding your instrument, music styles, the business, social media, networking, and networking is necessary to move forward. Like one of the things, like understanding your instrument, right? Like you got to know how to play.
Yeah, I think that's the part that it's taken for granted. When you get to a certain level in the music business, or you've done a certain amount of gigs, it's just taken for granted that, Fred's going to show up and do his job. He's a great drummer. He'll be fine. It's almost that simple. Yeah, he's got it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about the drum chair because Fred Fisher's there. You don't have to worry about it. He's going to crush it.
I tell all my students, I always tell ability is a must. Like there's no way of getting around that, but your attitude is number one.
Yep.
You have to have a great attitude. Different styles of music. I think it's important to know a lot of different styles. You don't have to be a master at all of them. I think we all have our specific styles that we live in.
I say this all the time. I mean, I'm a rock pig on pizza. I love rock and roll. I love playing rock and roll. Yep. I love it. That's what I do. But in the middle of my drum solo, Sam throws me a drum solo every night. I'm playing blah, 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 lots of double bass. Look at me, spin my sticks, noise, blop. Yeah. I do go into the 6/8 Afro-Cuban thing. Place goes nuts. And all I'm doing is playing this Afro-Cuban groove that I know. And people like it, So understanding different styles, am I going to get called upon to be the next Chuck Silverman and play in an Afro-Cuban thing? Probably not. But the fact that I can do it sorta, is and it's somewhat authentic sounding, then cool. Awesome.
Yeah. The next thing that you had under that was business.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the music business, right?
See this right over here? See this drum set over here behind me?
Yes.
See those microphones up there for the overheads?
Yes.
This microphone I'm talking into, that's my drum set. And that's one of my drum sets. And it is an instrument, and it's a great thing to be a part of, but it is my business. Let's pull no bones about it. If I was a carpenter, I would have the best hammers and the best saw that money could buy.
Yeah.
That is my business right back there. That's my business. And so I treat it as such. Not only is it going to be the best that I like, it's going to be tuned well, it's going to be set up, it's going to hopefully not fall apart at the gig. If it does, it's because of a fluke. What a bummer, something broke. But that's my business. This is a business, and you have to treat it as such.
And I think so many musicians are scared to separate art and business.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and I get that. I mean, I'm sure that, Michelangelo, he focused on the art. He focused on carving out the statue of David. He focused on painting the Sistine Chapel. He focused on that part of it. But he also got his reward from that because that was his business, dealing in fresco and stuff. That was his business. And I'm sure he was paid for that. I'm sure he was.
And
you have to have the business part.
If this is your living or want it to be your living, you can't ignore the business side of it.
You can't. And all of it plays into it. The networking plays into it because look, you never know where this is going to lead. And well, you said it. Okay. You saw me doing that thing on teaching from the road, and you took a couple of lessons from me on that.
Mm-hmm.
And you paid me for the lessons. That's part of my business. So, okay. I made some money from talking to Fred about how to get him set up for teaching. It is a business. And there is the part of you where you're like, oh, come on, bro, I'll show you how to do it. No problem. But then there's the other part of it is like, well, this is what I do. I'll gladly share my information with you. This is what I charge for an hour. I had a buddy of mine. I have an acquaintance who, he saw that I had a shoe inside my kick drum, right? And he saw I had them in all the drums, but he saw the one in the kick drum. He's like, oh, dude, I want to do that. I want to put the shoe inside my drum. One of the things I do within my business, if anybody, and this is something that I do all the time, is I tweak people's drums in for them. A lot of times I just want the heads put on them. I want them tuned up. I want them tweaked in. And okay, not a problem. And I do that. Either you bring the drums to me or I go to your house and make a house call. I call it a tech and tune. Mm-hmm. And I charge for a 2-hour lesson because it's usually going to take me about 2 hours from the time I get there, get the whole drum set pulled apart, put the heads on, get it tuned up, get it sounding good. It takes about 2 hours, right, to do that. So anyway, I started because of the Kelly shoes in my drums, having drummers. Dude, that's killer. I want that. Okay, bring the drum over,
Yeah.
Here's where you can get the shoe, get whatever microphone you want. Make sure you get the correct shoe for the microphone, and I'll put them in for you. And I tell them the same thing. Like when I do it, you can't be there because we were talking about mechanics. Remember we were talking about well, yeah. Well, I'm mechanical. When you go into my garage, I got a ton of tools. I got a great tool collection, and nobody wants to see me taking a paddle bit to their bass drum.
Right.
They don't want to see it.
No.
And so I'm like, you just drop off your drums. I'll have them done for you in a week. And this is what I charge to do it. Well, this guy was like, we're bros. Yeah. Can you do that for me? Yeah, sure. Here's what it costs. And dude, he got upset with me. Well, dude, we're friends. I'm like, well, it's not like this thing's just going to put it in there. It's going to take me, a couple of hours to do this. This is what I charge to do it. And I do it all the time. I have people bring their drums to me all the time. And I do that. So anyway, I kind of got off on a roll there, but yeah, that's part of my business.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're working, and and I'm sure you experience this too, doing session work for people. Oh, it's a really short song. That doesn't matter.
I know.
Great, right? or usually the people that ask me, can you record on my song and what do you charge? And I tell them, if they go, great, how do I send you tracks?
Yeah.
That's a smooth, easy transaction.
Yeah.
But when they start asking 8 million questions, you're like, I could have recorded this song 4 times in the amount of effort I've put into communicating.
Yep. And you also kind of know what you're getting into when somebody's
needy.
Well, yeah. And then also they're like, during that one part, if you can make the hi-hat go spot, and you're like, what the hell does that mean? I remember John Robinson, JR, one time he was saying that, I mean, here's a guy who's recorded some of the greatest songs ever recorded, right? I mean, all the off the wall stuff and everything that he did. You know, he's one of the most recorded drummers in history. And somebody hired him for a session and they did that. That's where I got that from, by the way. He's like, yeah, this guy goes in and I want the hi-hat during the part to do this thing and open it there. And he goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Look, let me play it. I promise you're going to love it. You know, and it's like, that's the nicest way I've ever heard somebody tell somebody else to shut up.
Yeah.
You run into that a lot. You know, you run into people that they're very, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being specific. Hey, I really want a hi-hat opening going from the verse into the chorus. I don't want to crash. Okay, I can do that. You know, whatever. But yeah.
James Harrison is here. He said networking was a very personal process where one literally met someone and personally engaged in conversation. Nowadays, networking is for the most literally using the options available on online platforms. We now have thousands of friends and we personally never met but share interests and information with.
True.
Yeah. Yes. That's a guy you got to get on the deck show.
You know what? We were talking about that the other day. I had James and I had, sorry, autocorrect.
Yeah. I deciphered it. Okay, James, I think.
James sent me a message the other day and a suggestion for deck. And then like the next, so the next episode, we made a couple of changes and we're still working on a couple of things that he had suggested. And, we had brought, man, we got to get James on the show and talk to him. So yeah, that's in the works.
Yeah. Cool. The other thing under understanding was, social media, the importance of social media. And that's another thing that a lot of musicians shy from. They'll say things like, well, I don't want my page to become a nonstop advertisement. And it doesn't have to be, but I think, I know you and I have talked about this on the phone. I know that it's been talked about on deck. I don't know if I was on the particular deck show or not, but for instance, as being a teacher, I think you would agree with me. It's really important that not only are we teaching drum lessons, but we're out there in the real world playing and entertaining people. And hello, Jim Royals here.
Jim Royal. I want to be Jim Royal when I grow up. I love Jim Royal.
So social media is really, really important. It's part of your business, right? Your advertising and staying relevant to what you're doing. James,
you have to.
James that went viral. It's got like 4 million views suddenly.
James did?
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you know?
James, you can tell us. I don't know if it was one of your shuffle videos or which one it was, but
his brush stuff is amazing.
Oh yeah. When I start getting questions about brush stuff, I'm like, here, watch these videos.
Yeah, here you go. Well, okay, look right there. Okay, we keep going back to networking.
Yeah.
If I get a call like, hey, yeah, I really want to learn brushes. Okay, I'll show you how to stir the soup. It's going to take a couple of lessons, and then go talk to James. Yeah, it was a brush clip. I can get you going, but if you want to be a brush player, go talk to James. You know what I mean? That's what the networking part about it is. Yeah.
I think with social media, sometimes, I use McDonald's for an example. If they put out a new menu item, they don't just do one blurb about it and then it disappears, right?
Right.
It's a constant thing. They've invested a lot of money to promote that.
I don't think Gene Simmons has ever called Paul Stanley one morning and go, hey man, let's give this Kiss thing a rest. We're kind of pushing it too much. We're going to piss people off. It's never happened, right? No. I mean, that does not happen. So if you have a product, and I've seen a lot of people like, oh, well, you're oversaturating and you're pushing your band too much or you're pushing your product too much. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. This is how I make a living. And if I'm in a band, I'm going to, if I'm in charge of the social media for the band that I am in, you are going to see that band's logo every day,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
No apologies, no anything. You're going to see it every day. And with the algorithms having changed with social media, not as many people will see it. So if I put out a thing with my band's logo on it, 10 people are going to see it. But then the next day, another 10 are going to see it. And then the next day, another 10 are going to see it. So I'm going to put it out there every day.
Well, not only that, if you post something in the morning, you're catching a certain audience.
Yep.
And think about like who's ahead or behind you 12 hours in the world, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then if you post again in the afternoon, you can reshare the same content, but in the afternoon, now you're catching a different group of people.
Totally.
And then evening, you're catching a different group of people. And, I've even done that where I've put out the thing multiple times and I'll have people say, I never saw that.
Oh yeah. I have a friend of mine that's been working on an album and I had no clue. And he's like, well, I put it on Facebook. I'm like, I never saw your thing on Facebook. I never once saw a blurb of it. How many did you do? I did like 3 or 4 of them, but you got to do like 300 or 400. And it's not, there wasn't I'm not slamming him. I'm just saying, I mean, you have to be out there so much. And again, like I said, if I was the person in charge of the social media for a band, it would be there always.
Yeah. Well, for instance, I do this show live and I can see the amount of people are watching currently 5.
What?
A half hour ago, it was 15. And so people will come and go as it's available. But throughout the week on Facebook, this will get watched like between 800 to 1,200 times.
Right.
And then on YouTube, it'll start picking up more traction as the week goes on because people come back and watch later.
Totally. And
but I don't see that there's 5 people watching and go, this is a waste of time.
No, it never is, because look, if 5 people, if you're plugging whatever it is you're plugging, today we're sitting here talking about my book and other things, but you're going to reach a demographic throughout a period of time.
Yeah,
definitely.
So that's under your understanding part of the drum up your business. Let's jump to the last one for M, mentorship, and how incredibly important that is finding the people who say you can versus the people that say you can't.
Yeah.
Like I told you, like in 2019, I went to the NAMM show and I was doing all this networking things. Like I had reached a point in my life where it's like, I'm putting all the chips in or I'm completely out.
Yeah.
And that was a really important trip for me to take and do that. And that really got the ball rolling. And so by 2021, I became a full-time musician. So, but it took time to get all of that happening, but I could see the progress happening, but I had to get around the right people, because if I relied on the people in my own community of people who had tried and failed, and you share information that you're excited about, and they're like, I've done that, dude. No gig pays more than $100 and you can't get enough drum students to support you, and you can't have a recording studio, and you can't do this. And it's like, you got to get away from those people, or you got to get away from their influence, right?
You're going to have people in your life that are naysayers. You just are. There's always going to be people in your life that are naysayers. There's always going to be people in your life that are, that tell you can't do it.
Yep.
And so you have to at one point you have to refer back to the D. You have to refer back to the determination, because sometimes those people are in your life to stay. They're not somebody you can walk away from, right?
Yeah.
There's somebody that's in your life to stay. So you have to just rely on your own determination, and you have to rely on, and I think when I was younger, it was more of a, yeah, I'll show you, I think we all have that attitude with that young
Yep.
bravado going on.
Same.
But I think as you mature, it's more just like, look, I can do whatever the hell I want. I just have to put my mind to it, and I've got to lean into it.
Yeah.
When the transmission went out on the RV in Montana, that wasn't an easy task to do that. That was not easy to do by any stretch of the imagination. And by a lot of people's standards, there's probably a couple of guys in the band that were going, there's no way you're going to be able to do this. There's just no way you're going to be able to put that transmission in there.
Yeah.
Well, however many hours later or days later, you got the old one out, you got the new one in, and down the road you're going. And even though you're holding your breath going, I hope it shifts into fourth,
Yes.
you got it done, and you have to rely on that self-determination, because like I said, you will have people in your life who are in your life. You can't lose these people. You can't walk away from them. They're a relationship that you've established, and they're not going to believe in you. And that's okay. You have to believe in yourself.
Yeah. I think part of that chapter 4 in your book on mentorship is finding the right mentor that you gel with.
Mm-hmm.
So a mentor is about guidance, inspiration, and connection, and they can share their experience and expertise with you to navigate what you're after. What are the signs if you're talking to somebody that you want to be a mentor and something is going on that you go, oh, this person's not for me? Like, what would be those signs?
Okay. So for me, I think back to my earlier drum lessons. And I have this one particular junior high band director who was just a dick. Sorry, Jude.
One of those two.
He was just an ass, and he was real negative, and every time I would ask a question, and this was in junior high, so you're not really fully cognitively there in junior high school. You're still kind of, young and one step away from playing with your GI Joes.
Yep.
And I'm in there trying to play snare drum, and this teacher he was a jerk, and every time I would ask a question, I was talked down to. And I remember my great-grandfather saying, there's no such thing as a dumb question, only a dumb answer.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'd ask that guy a question and he would, just be a jerk, I remember thinking at that young age, thinking, man, this guy's not a good teacher. He's not, I'm asking a question. He's the teacher. I'm the student. I want to do this right, but he won't answer me. And I don't always give my students, I'll give a caveat to that. I think the best teachers for me have always been the teachers when I asked the questions, they asked another question. They didn't give me the answer.
Yeah.
If I said, whatever it is that I asked, they asked me another question. They made me think. I think that's the best way to learn. And that's how I try to teach.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer the question, if I have somebody that is literally just really negative as a teacher, or why are you trying, or what, that's the dumbest question and nobody's ever said it's the dumbest question I've ever heard, but they treat your question as if it were dumb. No, you don't do that. There's no such thing as a dumb question. The question is there because you're seeking knowledge. And if you are narcissistic enough to say there is a dumb question, or don't ask such a stupid question, then you don't belong teaching. Yeah. So stay away from those type of people. That's what I would say.
I think I asked that question because I think, especially if you're paying for somebody's time, I don't even know if the story would make sense, but I'm going to give it a shot. So Taxi is a business that helps TV and film find music for scenes, and it goes out to people like us to write and record music and submit it for those things. So every year in November they have what's called the Taxi Road Rally at one of the airports at LAX. And you're a member of Taxi, right, Bart?
I am, yes.
Yeah. So Mary, go ahead.
Well, Sam's really into it.
Okay. So when Mary's the actual member, and so when we go to the road rally, I'm the guest. And they had this group of people to be in a mentorship role, and you get 15 minutes of their time. Now, if I told you this person's name, you may or may not know who he is, so I'm just not gonna. He'll stay nameless, okay? But he is a band manager and a personal music manager, and I thought this is the guy I need to talk to. So I sit down, and as I start to introduce myself, he goes, "Hold on a minute." He's got his phone in his hand, and he's texting somebody. And he's probably spends 5 minutes in this text, and I'm just waiting. And he looks up from his phone and goes, "Go ahead."
Oh my!
Totally
God.
Ignoring me, right?
Yeah.
Now, this guy's supposed to be a mentor.
Yeah.
And so then I started to say my name again, and I'm a drummer, and what I'm trying to do for my career. And his phone rings. He goes,
"Oh,
hold on." He's, yeah, really? He's talking about whatever he's talking about. And meanwhile, my 15 minutes is emptying pretty quick. And we get down to like 3 minutes left, and I'm telling him I'm looking for opportunities to be a touring drummer with an already established artist. And he goes, "Well, what you need to do first is you should form a band in your own hometown and start doing some shows, and go on the road and get your feet wet." And I'm like, dude, I've played thousands of shows. Okay. Just completely useless waste of time.
Yeah.
And I was like, who else is sitting through this nonsense at this Taxi Road?
I feel sorry.
This isn't Taxi's fault. Okay. Taxi is not your fault. Okay.
Right.
But that was just a horrible thing. Like, oh my gosh, dude.
Whoever that person may manage some very large, big artists. And I feel very sorry for those artists, because I just, by that story, I'm gonna go out here on a limb, and I'm gonna throw this one out there, and I will say his name.
Do it.
Dear friend of mine, Adam Parsons.
Adam, yes.
Adam, you can Google him. He is the real deal. And he's the sweetest damn guy you ever want to meet in your life. And he is the busiest person you ever want to meet in your life. Him and I are cut from the same cloth. We're both workaholics, right? We just are.
Yeah.
But and there's been times where I called him and and he always picks up. "Mate, look, it's 8 o'clock in England right now, and it's crazy. Let me call you back in 5 minutes. I'll call you right back. All right, no problem." And then an hour later, "I'm sorry, mate. I got on this call, and Lita Ford did this, and the guys in Europe are doing this, and David Coverdale, and blah blah." And now I'm name dropping, but and I'm sorry. What's going on? "Oh, I just wanted to call and say hi. I'm going to be over by the drum room. I thought, I'd see if you were there. I was going to drop in and say hi." "All right, I'll be right over. I'll go down. Yeah, let's go play the drums. Let's hang for a little bit." So he'll go down there, and he's just a sweetheart of a guy. That's the guy that you want in your corner as a mentor. That's the guy you want in your corner as a manager. You don't want some dude that's no. That's so. Somewhere along the line, and I don't know how it works, so I'm really talking out of my butt here, but That guy's probably getting paid by taxi to be a figurehead, and he could care less about the people he's talking to, and that's not look, I've been in drum lessons with drum teachers who, if they were in the middle of a lesson and they were teaching me how to play pataflaflas, and the phone rang and it was their favorite band needing a drummer, they would have been out of there so fast and I would have been the only one sitting in the room. They didn't give a damn about me playing the drums.
Yeah.
They were there to earn a check until they got their big break. And quite frankly, I maybe even said that wrong, because somebody that has an attitude like that isn't going to give a damn about my pataflaflas. They just want, let me hear you play. You don't take lessons from that person.
Well, here's something to consider. And this has been on the deck show many, many times. Like, how we act and the words that we say matter.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example,
very much so.
This experience with this person, for me, wasn't good. And so when his name pops up, I feel like I have this responsibility to warn them based on
totally.
Right. So if they're saying, well, if I want to sign up for a mentor segment or a block of time, like, who should I go to? Well, not this guy.
Not that dude.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
not that guy. So my experience with that was not a good one.
No,
so that's like reviewing somebody, right?
Right. I have to say this too. I have to throw this out there, because I think in conversations like this, it's super easy to make it sound like, you're the know-all, be-all, perfect person. And look, maybe the guy's having a bad day. Who knows?
Yeah, there could be that too.
I've had plenty of times where I've been a dick. Okay. I mean, everybody is, I mean, that's human nature. You're not always going to be on. You're not always going to say the right thing. You're not always going to do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm the type of person that once this is one of the qualities about myself, not qualities. This is one of the things I'm working on with myself. I'm the type of person, when I'm done, when you've proven to me that you're not who you are, and if it's not somebody I agree with, I'm kind of done, and that maybe is something I need to give people a second, a third, a thousandth chance. What did Jesus say? How many times do you forgive somebody? 7 times? No, 7 times 7,000. I mean, that's what you have to. You have to do that. So that's something I'm working on with myself. Because people have bad days. They do. Maybe that guy was having a bad day. But if I were to say that to you, hey, Fred, I'm going to the Taxi Road Rally and I've got like 3 people I want to talk to. What do you think? And you're like, I'd stay away from that guy. I'd listen to you, because I'm like, Fred knows what he's talking about,
Yeah. Now, granted, there could have been a bunch of other people that had a great session with this guy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But whatever was happening in that moment where his attention was completely gone.
I've had students come to me and it's their first lesson, and they would say, oh yeah, I took lessons with the guy over there.
Right.
Yep. And he would always step outside for, we'd have a 30-minute lesson. He'd step outside and be on the phone for 20 of the 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell my students before I start a lesson, I tell everybody this: every once in a while, you'll see me send a text during your lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I'm multitasking. Maybe it's my next student. Maybe it's I'm running a little bit late. Maybe it's, hey, yesterday, Chris Brady, we talked about at the beginning of the show. He calls me during a lesson and I texted him, hey man, I'm in a lesson. I'll call you back. I'll do that. If I know that during a lesson, I'm expecting a very important phone call, and it could be something music related. It could be my wife is at the doctor's and she needs to call me and tell me something. I'll tell the students at the beginning of the lesson, hey, look, I'm going to expect this important phone call. So I may have to take a minute during the lesson. I'll do that because I think that's, you have to do that. That's life. But there's a cavernous difference between that and, the whole, if I was on your podcast and the whole time I'm going, yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
No. I do the same thing, Bart. Like I have my ringer off, but I have my phone where I can see it.
Yeah.
It's especially like you said, like if the next student's going to be running late, if they text you and say, hey, I'm going to be running 10 minutes late, I know I could take another 5 minutes with the student I have.
Yeah.
Like
very good. Yeah.
Working on something. I'm like, okay, Katie's going to be a little bit late. So we're just going to keep going until she gets here. And they love that extra little bit of time.
They always do. Yeah, right. Totally. And it, and that knife cuts both ways, because maybe I had a student that was running late and I gave them the extra 10 minutes, but now I'm a little bit behind in my day.
Yeah.
And I'll text students, hey, me and Joe are running over a little bit. I'm going to be a little bit late. Then when I get into that lesson, hey man, I'm sorry I'm late, but you'll get in your full half hour. So the day kind of gets, or you're getting your full hour. The day gets expanded by 10 minutes,
Yeah.
But that's
Another
there's a big difference between the two.
Another cool thing that I've had happen, it's happened like 2 or 3 times where my phone's sitting where I could see it, and I'll be working with I really like Rick's books, Rick Stojak's books.
Yeah.
And I could be working with a student in one of Rick's books and Rick calls, and I'll tell the student, I'm like, hey, the author of that book is calling me right now. They're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, let's put him on speakerphone. I'll go, hey, Rick, and hey, buddy, you know how Rick is.
Yeah.
And
buddy,
he's like, he's
I call him the positive energy hand grenade.
And rightfully so. He's just awesome. And I'll say, hey, dude, I'm in a lesson right now. And he's like, oh, okay, well, we could talk later. And I go, but hang on, like, so-and-so, we're on page whatever of whatever book. He's like, oh man, that just makes my day. And I'll say, well, one of my students, Katie, for example, I'll say, Katie, say hi to Rick. And she'll be like, hey, Rick. And Rick will be like, Katie, what are you working on? And it's just like, it becomes part of the thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, man, well, let's connect tomorrow morning or whatever. And then my student's like, I got to talk to Rick Stojak.
Totally, man. And
awesome.
By the way, that was a really good impersonation of Rick. You sounded just like him.
Hey!
Rick is, man, you cannot be in a bad mood when you're around Rick. Rick is just such a great dude, man. Yeah. All the guys, Jeremy and Chip, I love those dudes. I mean, just amazing guys. Great drummers, but better people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk one more time about this aquarium drum head. Hey, Mr. Little Producer, Judo Chop.
You
got all the names written down?
Jim Royal.
We're gonna give people like 2 more minutes to if you want to be entered to win this drum head, you got to put Drummergy in the comments, and whatever name we pull, I will get your email and address, and I will send that to Chris Brady at Aquarium Drumheads, and they're going to ship it to you.
I thought you said you were going to drive it to him.
No.
You're going to hop in that motorhome with the transmission.
We don't have that thing anymore. That thing's long gone.
All right. Hey, real quick, as we enter the end of the show, shameless plugs here.
Go for it.
If you look in the chat up above, please check out my products. You can go to my website, bartrobley.com. Check out my books there. Drum Up Your Business is my latest book. And And then this one, this is another one I really believe in. Actually, I have two of them. I have this one.
Yes.
Personal Daily Success Planner. That is on Amazon.
How much is that, Bart?
$9. And then
That's nothing.
The Drummer's Weekly Practice Journal. These things are super easy. They're great things to track your progress with. You can get them on Amazon. They are an amazing tool to help you better yourself.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's the one thing that I've really tried to do with my lessons, with my podcasts, with everything that I do. I want to make your drumming experience, your learning experience, your educational experience, whatever. I want it to be better for you. And I try to lift people up, and that's what I try to do. So if you can buy those things, I promise you they will help you in many ways.
This is such an incredible book. Drum Up Your Business.
Thank you so much.
It's an easy read, and it's very straightforward, easy to understand. And if you need more information after you read it, you can get it straight from Bart Robley's mouth to your ears.
You can.
Okay, little producer.
Judo chop. Dude, that is the coolest thing in the world. I love judo chop.
You have all the names in that bucket? Okay, son, you can bring it to me.
Wait, we got to get judo chop on camera.
Yeah, he's going to be here in just a second.
I want to see judo chop.
No, there was more than that. No, there wasn't. Do you have Thomas Schuster? He said Drummergy, and he said, "Hey, this is Thomas." So put Thomas's name in there. Put Jim Royal's name in there.
Yeah.
Do your job, kid.
Judo chop.
Do you have Seal in there? Okay, we're gonna go through this really quick, gentlemen.
Okay.
Or ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Daniel, do you have Daniel in there? Do you have Seal? Do you have James Harrison?
You have Eric?
Brian? Who are we missing here, Bart? There's Thomas.
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, this is Thomas. Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
Tony?
Let's put Eric in there.
How about Tony?
Tony won drumsticks for me already.
That's okay. Tony can win a drum head.
He's a front of house guy.
You say it like it's a bad thing.
No, he's awesome.
He's just a.
He knows that I'm twisting him up. Okay, we got everything. Okay, come here,
Tony,
bro. You got to get there.
There's judo chop.
Say hi to the world.
Hello.
And that's Bart Robley. Bart's been our big supporter through our accident and all of that stuff. So
yeah, man. Hey, can you hear me, Jude?
He can't hear you.
He can't hear you. Tell him that I'm proud of him for all the stuff that he did for you when you broke your leg. He did a great job, I think.
You and all the stuff you did for me when I broke my leg. Okay, so I want you to reach in there and pull a rabbit out of the hat.
All right.
Don't cheat, judo chop.
Who do we got? Eric, you get the drum head, bro.
Awesome.
So we'll make sure we get Eric's information and get it over to Mr. Chris Brady at Aquarian Drumheads, and he can get his drum head on its way.
Yes, you can. Hey, and you know what? As we're drawing to a close here, I do have to say this. I want to say this too. One of the things that about the drumming community is just that it is a community of people like-minded, a brotherhood, a sisterhood. It's really a very cool thing to be a part of.
Yes.
And I've got to say that Fred Fisher in the Drummergy Podcast, one of the best out there. And Fred, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah, man, Bart, thanks for being on and waking up at 5:45 or 5:30 or whatever it was for you.
I got up at 5. And had a cup of coffee, and away we go. And you know what? I have to say this. This is the first question I asked at the beginning of the show. What if I have to pee? And you said you don't have to pee. You're with Fred Fisher. You're right. It's like a magic don't have to pee thing. I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, I know how this works, buddy. There's too much. It's like being in the movie theater and there's so much excitement happening. It's like there's no way I can go to the bathroom.
I kind of felt like I was in like a Batman movie. You're right. Yeah.
I get that all the time.
No.
All right, let's do a plug.
Bart, man.
There it is. And you're in the Bart Cave, right?
I am
in the Bart Cave.
Let's
do a plug for Drummers Education Connection, because for over 2 years now, I have watched every single episode of Drummers Education. I have not missed any of them.
That's awesome.
I have watched every single one.
Thank you.
And it's good stuff. So where do people find Drummers Education Connection?
Okay, so you can find us on YouTube. Drummers Education Connection on YouTube pops up right there. We've got backlog videos for 4 years. Yeah, coming up on 4 years. Yeah. I mean, David Garibaldi, Billy Cobham, Greg Bissonette, Todd Zuckerman, some of the biggest names in the business have been on the show, and educators talking about products. Fred Fisher's been on there. You name it, they've been on there, and we're always doing what we're doing here. We're talking about drumming and talking about the community. It's a great resource. You can also find us on Facebook on 2 platforms, and it's a really long, convoluted story, and I won't get into it, but there's 2 places. You can go to the private page. You can ask to be enrolled into it, Drummers Education Connection group, and send a thing and we'll let you in. Or if you just look up Drummers Education Connection, all one word, that is where we broadcast live every Tuesday from 11 to 12 Pacific time. So I will be back on the internet talking a little bit more here in a couple of hours on deck. And today we are, I sent out a thing yesterday. I was super busy yesterday. I'm like, guys, what's our topic? And Rick goes, let's put venting. I'm like, okay. And so I think Rick's idea of being mad is, darn it. I mean, that's about as mad as he. Oh, man.
So I called you the other day and I started venting, and as I vented more, I got a little more animated in my venting.
Yeah. You know what? It happens.
That was an influence.
Yeah, it happens. And I think it's better to vent off to the side than it is on the stage or at the so, get away from the venue before you start saying what a jerk the sound guy was,
Exactly. Bart Robley, thank you so much, guy, for being on here. This is, oh man, I just value our friendship so much and everything that has come about since your video on teaching from the road.
Oh, Fred, it's my pleasure. And I feel the same way, man. And one of these days we are going to have a pickle pizza.
Yes. You'll need to be in Boise for that. I'm waiting for the Sam Morrison band to get near here.
We've had a couple of times where we were a matter of fact, there was one recently where we were supposed to go into Idaho, and I don't know why it didn't happen. But
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen for sure.
All right, folks, please go join Bart and the rest of the boys over on Drummers Education Connection in 3 hours.
And go to bartrobley.com and buy Drum Up Your Business.
That's right. And I'll see you here next week. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but we're going to figure it out. And then I'm going to go to Drum Corps International Finals in Indianapolis next week. And then, so the week after finals, my son Christian will be my guest on the show because he's a DCI snare drum player and WGI snare drum player. And
God, that kid must have chops, man.
Oh, dude, I can't even come close at all to what that guy does.
That's so cool, man. It's like, you know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
Is Jeremy.
Oh, with his son, Evan. Yeah.
Evan. Holy crap, man.
Yeah.
We went with the second deck day we did up in the, yeah, right. Stay off the scooter. You see that?
Yes. That's Thomas.
Yeah. We went up, we did the second deck day event in the Bay Area, And after deck day, Jeremy goes, "Hey, Evan's playing with his high school jazz band at this, I forget the name of the place, really cool venue up in Berkeley." He goes, "We're going to go watch him play." I'm cool, dude. My high school jazz band didn't play like that. These guys were monsters, and Evan was the friggin' star of the show. That kid, I was like, oh my God, he was so good, dude.
Yeah.
And I even, when he got his scholarship into college, everybody was joking, and I was kind of joking, but I was serious. I'm like, what the hell are they going to teach him? The guy can, oh my God, he's so good. So anyway, that's what it reminds me of, is that, you've got to live so vicariously through that. That's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, I will be back here next Tuesday. Please go watch Drummer's Education Connection. Go to bartrobley.com and get Drum Up Your Business. You will not regret it.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. I'm going to end the stream here, and then we can talk for a second.
Awesome. Go practice, everybody.
Yes.